So today I just wanted to make a video on my cooking because I haven't really made any videos about me cooking, but it's definitely something I'm very passionate about and something I've been doing for over 10 years now. So a little backstory about how I started cooking was essentially I'm the youngest of three in my family, and I was the first one to come home during my high school days. So at 12, 13, I was the first one to be at home. And my parents were working, my brother was at school. So I had the task given to me to just prepare food when they arrived. So I'd arrive to at home around 4, 5 o'clock, and they'd come back from work at 6 or 7. So I had like an hour to 2 hours to prepare something delicious, something easy, which is mainly it was like chicken, rice, beef, rice, meat, and rice. So protein and carb. Over the years, I've gotten better. I've learned more recipes, and now I think I'm at the stage where I can hopefully share what I've learned throughout the years, and hopefully inspire you to like start cooking yourself. So today I'm just gonna be making some easy spaghetti pasta with meat sauce. I don't want to call it spaghetti bolognese, anything like that, because I'm not really following a recipe. I'm just doing things that have inspired me, and I've made it myself. And hopefully you enjoy what I do or have some inspiration. So let's get into it. So let's start with ingredients. So I'm just gonna show you what my base is. So usually in Italian cooking, they use like a base of onion, celery, and carrots. I personally like to use garlic with mine because I love the taste of garlic. Yum! So I think this is like 1 carrot worth, one whole onion, maybe 3 or 4 sticks of celery, and maybe half a bulb of garlic. You can change according to your preference. I'd probably put way more garlic for me personally, but today I just wanted to keep it something light. I got a whole bag of pasta. Pick whatever you want. I personally like something like fettuccine. I don't like spaghetti. I think it's like the most. I think it's the most basic. Oh no. Let's clean that up later. I mean, it's like the most basic type form of pasta. I don't really like the short ones as well, like fusilli or like macaroni. I like something like slurp, something long. And then for my meat, I've got just typical beef mince that you can buy from anything, groceries. Got it from Woolies. This is 10% fat. I personally don't mind having like 15 to 20% fat, but I'm cooking for my family, and they prefer something a bit lower fat, so that's it. So let's get on to it. So I got two pans, or 1 pan and one pot that's boiling right now. So the pasta is gonna take 10 minutes. So when I have 10 minutes left, I'm gonna put the pasta in. And it just means like everything gets cooked at the same time. There's no waiting. You don't have to just do meat first and then do the pasta, whereas you can do both. You just gotta learn your timing, and hopefully I can teach you that today, or you already know, because who knows, man, you might be better than me already. And yeah, so some pastas, they usually have like a certain time for them. Just read the label. So this one says add pasta and 1 tablespoon of salt to 5 liters of boiling water, which I already done. Right there, I've salted it. You can pour it to salt your pasta, add some flavor. This is cook for 10 minutes or to taste. So just because it tells you to cook for 10 minutes, you can also just taste it, like literally eat it, and then you gotta, I think the term is called al dente. which is like when it's kind of soft, it's soft enough but has a little bit of bite still. That's what you kind of want to aim for, because pasta still keeps on cooking anyway after you take it out the water, I think. So yeah, let's put some olive oil in. Olive oil. I really can't tell if this mic is capturing what I'm saying, but I'm gonna find out later. With olive oil, I'm just gonna coat the pan basically. Be generous with it. So how I usually cook as well is usually for 4 to 5 people. So in the household right now I'm in, there's 4 mouths to feed. So this is definitely good enough for 4, and it allows like some leftovers to be created for, when you're hungry. So I'm gonna first off start with browning the garlic first. Brown off the garlic. Make sure you put your extractor on if you have one, just so your whole house doesn't smell like the food. Personally, I love the smell of garlic anyway, so doesn't matter to me. But I'm living with other people, so you gotta be mindful. So you just brown off the garlic until it's brown, not too burnt. So you gotta keep constantly stirring. Constantly stir that bad boy, and then you start adding all the other ingredients. As you can see here, and then get your salt. Get your salt next to you, because you always wanna salt often and little and often. It just means like you're adding flavor throughout the whole process. Like it's worse if you do all the salt at the end. It's good to do it little and often. I like to do it in batches sometimes, just because certain veggies or certain ingredients cook quicker or take a bit longer. So usually, I don't know the science behind it personally, but it's just preference or what I've been doing. Also with the heat, with the tip, I like to just go medium low, like low and slow. I've got time for it. I love cooking and I love being here. So low and slow. You take your time with it and don't rush it. You want this food to be good, tasty. Wow. You want it to be a work of art. Treat it like a work of art. Maybe add a bit more olive oil just because it looks a bit dry. So add a bit. Be liberal with it. So while this is going, let's talk about inspirations with food and how I learn. So I'm not trained at all in any form of cooking. This is all self-taught, just through trial and error, um, through a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of inspiration from I don't even know, man. I don't know the amount of chefs, amount of food vloggers that I watch, but you've got Gordon Ramsay, you've got Anthony Bourdain, you've got this guy who's Australian. I think his name's like, he's so recent. I can't remember his name, but I've been learning about grilling with him. There's just too many to name and for me to care about right now. But honestly, your best bet, if you don't know anything, just go to YouTube. It's a free option. It's a free option. No barrier to entry, low cost, and you can find something you like. So I'm Filipino, but grew up in Malaysia and also the UK. So I try and find dishes I like to eat. So Malaysian food, um, British British food. I think honestly one of the easiest foods. Like try an English breakfast. Honestly, everything's so easy, tastes good, good combination, and easy to make. Literally so easy to make. So I would say YouTube has been a big part of my cooking journey and learning. Really valuable resource, and I can't uh, recommend it even more. Also, another factor that has helped me really be involved in food is I work in hospitality for the past 8 years, 8 years, 7 years, 9 years worth of experience. So I started when I was 17, 18, something like that. And I was just like a waiter. I was like front of house. I was working in stadiums, in bars, and restaurants, just as like what do you call it? Agency. God damn, the words are coming out of my mouth. So I was working in hospitality for a long time. That didn't make me. That doesn't even relate to cooking, but I just love serving. I love making sure people had a good time, people enjoyed their outing, and yeah, and I think I have a knack for it. I have this natural, hospitable side to me where I love making people smile, laugh, and with the help of food and drink, absolute game changer, man. Get them drunk and get them fed, and they're a happy bunny. Happy bunny. So I did that for a few years. And then when I was like 21, 22, I was luckily enough to get this job in the UK in a restaurant. I was super underqualified. I first went in to the job interview to apply for the role as a bartender, and I thought I could get that job because in my agency job I was making pints. I was pouring pints, and I was making single spirit drinks, so like vodka and soda, vodka and coke, gin and tonic, stuff like that. But the restaurant obviously wanted a real bartender that could make classical drinks or mocktails or cocktails. Knows about wine, beers, stuff like that. And I didn't have any knowledge of that. I didn't have any at all because I'm still pretty new. But through my talking, the manager just asked me to talk about food, and luckily it was a Chinese restaurant run by white people. Uh, and I started talking about food, and he said, "What's your favorite dish?" And I just talked about like roast duck, roast pork, the triple roast, like a typical Chinese dishes. And he was like, "Damn, you have some knowledge about Chinese food. Why don't you apply for front of house? Why don't you apply to be a runner?" And a runner is basically the person who grabs all the food, and the waiter, the server serves the food. So I'm just basically a busboy at this point. But that's my first ticket into this place. And I was like, why not? Why not? Because I don't have any Worcestershire sauce, so I'm gonna add a little bit of soy sauce just to add some browning to the veg, as a bit of more flavor. I'm just gonna do it in caps so you can see because usually I do it by eye, but this gives you like some reference point. So that's 4 caps. No cap. So you cook all the veg. Keep cooking the veg. Just keep making sure nothing burns, nothing sticks. Alright, continue on to the story. So my job was a bus boy, a runner. So I'm learning about the menu. I'm learning about plating styles. I'm learning the position of expo. Expo, honestly, in a restaurant is one of the hardest jobs ever. One of the hardest. It's like you are the middleman between front of house and back of house, and you gotta know all the tickets, all the orders at the times, and which table is running late, which table is running early, which table needs their starters now, mains, desserts, and it's one person. It's crazy. I couldn't do that at all, but watching it, absolutely magical. Her, the expo, I remember, her name was Shantae. Oh my god, salute to you, dude. Like, you were killing it. You were absolutely killing it, man. And just watching it, I was so amazed. And she would teach me about like the ingredients, talk about the menu, talk about what goes well together, talk about timings, everything like that. So I got more interested in food, more interested in the whole art of a restaurant. And two, and I think 3 months in, I was promoted to a server. So instead of carrying the food, I'm serving it now, and I'm talking to the table, and I'm selling the food. So what was really nice about this restaurant was they trained you really well. So we had weekly training sessions where we can taste the food, so we know what it tastes like, we know what it smells like, we know what it feels like, and you can describe this to all your patrons or your customers. And nothing beats someone who knows exactly what the food tastes like, right? If you ask your waiter and they say, "What does this taste like?" and you say, "I don't know. I've never tried it." You're just like, "What? You work here and they don't give you food, or they don't train you?" It's just like, ooh, ooh. You should work on that. So I just added the beef now, and you just want to brown it, get it all in, mix it in with the veg. So after 3 months, um, I was a server now, and they make money. If you're a good server, you absolutely make bank. I was at that time. I was what? I was 22, 21. Just left university. Left. That's a funny word. I left university, and this was my first job, and I was getting paid £13 an hour. And at that time, 2021, I think uh, national wage was like maybe £10 or something, £9 or £10 at that time, as a 21-year-old. And I was like, damn, I'm making like £3, £4 extra per hour. Ooh, I'm living good. And then the benefit of being a server is, especially if you're a good one, is tips. And to me, tips was just a thing that I saw in America, like US. Like, hey, 10%, 20%, here you go, get paid. And growing up in the UK, tips is not really that common. Or my family did do it. And I didn't really appreciate the service, or I didn't really see um, any hospitality staff going above and beyond. You know what I mean? So why would you tip them? But because this place, Tattoo, really pushed like customer service, high expectations, because it's kind of pricey. It's a pricey place. For two people, you could rack up a bill. You could rack up a bill of like 120 plus, like 60 per person. That was like an average. Your starters, mains, desserts, and drinks. That was probably like 120, 130 per for the whole bill. And then there's already a 10% surcharge, 10% like cover charge because of the service. But then, if you're really good, you were getting tip an extra 10 or 20. It's like, whoa, damn, it pays to be good at the job. And at one point, let's say my average in a week for an average week was £100 extra per week. So £400 extra per month. So I was getting paid an extra week's worth in tips, untaxed. And yeah, like that was one of my favorite jobs because the amount of confidence I had, the amount of kind of just like that bravado or just like, yeah, confidence, man. Like I had about myself, knowing I can talk about any food on any menu item, and I can sell it to you. And we had this incentives where you would get £5 extra if people left a review about you. They just started this initiative, and in 1 week I got 5 reviews. Like, so I got an extra £25 plus my £100. I was like, damn. And then because everyone around me also got reviews, other servers, they made it into a competition. They started saying, "Oh, guys, let's just do this every time." Then, like, it was supposed to be only a 1 week or 2 week initiative, and it became forever. How long? Whenever you got a review, you got £5. So it's like it gives you the incentive to work hard, but it also gives the reputation of the restaurant higher as well. So both people are winning. The server is winning and the restaurant is winning. So it's a great initiative to have. You know, £5 per review, and if you have, let's say, 10 customers per day, that's usually 10 covers or 10 seats. Do that times by 40, and you get, like, let's say 10 to 20% of those customers leave a review. What's that? 8 times 5, 40 £40 extra, just for being a good person, but just for being funny, being attentive, being caring, hospitable. You get £5. And yeah, so I love that job, and also the back of house, all Filipinos, mainly Filipinos. One of the head chefs are Filipino. Some of the sous chefs Filipino. The dessert chef. You know, and I also got like benefits out because of my Filipino face. You know, you get some benefits for knowing the kitchen staff and being generous to them and being nice to them. You know, let's just say I never went hungry. Never. So while I've been talking, this has just been browning, just getting its flavor. And it's like this. I don't know if you can see, but it's brown and it's mixed in. I forgot to mention, another ingredient is important to make your life easier, is just buying some sauce. So this is gonna probably take 10 minutes. So I'm gonna put a timer for 10 minutes. Luckily this oven has a timer, and I'm just gonna use all of it. So fettuccine, just make sure, yep, it's all used. Not sponsored, I wish. Take a bit of the mince, just try it. Fuck. Adjust to your taste. I literally only put salt, pepper, and then the natural ingredients. But you can do whatever. You can add more onion, you can add more garlic, chili, oregano, whatever, bro. Make sure you use all of that. So add a bit more water. Shake, shake, shake. And then use all of it. And this will, you just let it cook for maybe 10 minutes now. 10 minutes. And then you have dinner. Isn't that so easy, lads? Lasses. Yeah, man. So more about that. Restaurant story. Yeah, I love food. I really love food, man. My passion for food outweighs a lot of stuff. You know, I used to be a fat kid, dude. I used to eat way too much. My parents would feed me until I would say stop. So I think for me, food is such a big thing in my life. Um, it brings people together, it nourishes you, and there's just so much stories behind what type of food you cook, or the all the stories that you tell while cooking or while eating it. There's so much fun in it. I don't know how to describe it. Apart from fun, enjoyment, family. Yeah. And I think this year, um, coupled with the fact of my path of my spiritual path to like God or Christianity, I've rediscovered my relationship with Christ. I was born a Catholic, raised up as a Catholic, went to Catholic schools my whole life. Um, I definitely believed in God, definitely believed in Jesus, all stuff like that. But only up until a few years ago, I started um, having that relationship with Christ again. Like, this was done through Pentecostal churches, if you wanna group it, if you wanna label it. You know, the church that promotes or talks about like the Holy Spirit, the gifts, the fruits, you know, that was introduced to me maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I was just walking down Birmingham City High Street. I saw a bunch of people giving out free food. I was thirsty. It was like 8 p.m. at night, me just walking around, and they were offering like free coffee, free tea, free hot chocolate. That's what got me. And I was like, damn, I would love a hot chocolate right now. And that hot chocolate turned into a conversation with a pastor, turned into a conversation with a churchgoer, and I started going to church because of this group that invited me all the way in Walsall, which is far as hell, heaps far. It was far, but one of the members of the church, his name was John, amazing name. John said, "Hey, don't worry. If travel is an issue for you, I'm gonna take you there and I'm gonna take you back." So essentially, I had no excuse for not going, because my excuse was the travel. I'm not willing to travel an hour or two to go to a church, because I also didn't have a car at that time. I could only participate through going on public transport, and honestly I didn't feel like that was convenient enough for me at that time. But John, the kind man he was, he drove to my house, took me to Walsall, and drove me back. And in those times where we were driving, we would just talk about Jesus. We would talk about the power of religion, the power of Christ, power of healing. His name heals. His name saves. You know, I truly believe it. I truly, truly believe that Christ or religion, whatever you want to name it, having some godly or higher power in your life, knowing that you have a relationship with a being that's so powerful, forgiving, and loving, it makes you live life less scared and less lonely because you have Him, you have Jesus, you have whatever Buddha. You know, we can call it whatever names we are, but there's a higher being. I'd like to use the analogy of passenger and driver, right? So when you're driving, now I know because I've learned how to drive. When you're driving, you're too focused. You can't really do anything too much. You can't. You just focus on getting to the destination. You can't relax too much because you're watching for dangers. You're watching for the side mirror, the back mirror, your blind spot, pedestrians, other cars, right? Uh, so sometimes when you drive by yourself, it's kind of hard because it's only you. And when you introduce Jesus in your life, when you introduce Christ, when you introduce another thing, another higher being, you're now the passenger. And then when you're the passenger, you can chill. You can look out the window. You can enjoy the sights, the sounds. You can turn up the music, change the music. You can sleep. There's so many things a passenger can do because the driver is taking care of everything. And my driver is Jesus. My driver is Christ. My driver is the universe. I trust in it completely, you know. And when you surrender and trust in something higher, oh man, blessings are gonna come to you. Opportunities are gonna come to you. You start overflowing. You start coming from a place of abundance, you know. So yeah, I didn't expect this cooking video to become a preach or anything religious. Believe me, I do not want to convert anyone. I'm just here as a messenger. I'm only a messenger. Uh, I'm not here to change people. I'm only here to show the power of Christ and how living a life of honest, of conviction, of faith changes you, man. Absolutely changes you. And I want to say a big thank you to my brother Jason. Jason Derulo. Jason, brother, Kuya. Let's see if this is still running. Brother, you have been an absolute inspiration in my life. And I want to say massive thank you to you for essentially saving me, you know. So before this, before arriving to Australia to be with my brother and be with his wife, I was traveling around Thailand, Asia, Southeast Asia. I was traveling around Thailand, Vietnam, Philippines, and Malaysia. And that was 8 months worth. And boy, bro, that 8 months challenged me in so many ways. Definitely in the sinful ways of that. I got lost in the sauce, basically. I got lost in having fun. I got lost in having no responsibility. So I was just like free for all. You know, I'm not gonna go into it too much, but I was just sitting in the Word. Um, and then I came here. I arrived here in May, and with His love, with His forgiveness, with His patience, I started to heal. I started to start going back to a routine. I started to sleep right. I started to exercise, you know, going gym. So that's cooked. That's definitely cooked. Pasta, you gotta check. Just check that. Pasta. It looks like some of the noodles are sticking, like still sticking. So I would say I'd give that an extra 2-3 minutes. Just keep moving it around, and we're just gonna add the pasta straight into the sauce. And some pepper, because why not? Gonna have some garlic powder, because I love garlic. I'm just gonna add a few. Just use your eye. A bit of salt just to add a bit more taste. So it's a bit thick right now, but a good trick is to keep some of the pasta water, because if it's like too thick, you can add a bit, because that starch will help. So I'm gonna keep tasting it. Always taste, always taste. God damn. So hopefully, if things go right, you can make this in under an hour, or if you're faster, maybe 30 minutes, if you're really good. So it's still a bit, like, has a bit of bite to it. They say if you throw pasta to the wall and it sticks, that means it's ready. But I don't want to have that on camera, because I don't want to show my brother I just throw pasta around his house. So I think it's done. I'm gonna try one more, and then I think it's done. I think it's personally softness. It's pretty. It's okay. Oh, but it's like kind of stuck together. It's like, what the hell's going on? I don't know. Maybe I gotta put some. I don't know if the trick is to put olive oil. Let's see. I don't know, because usually I add olive oil to the pasta when it's like out the water, but let's see if adding pasta to the water helps separate the noodles a bit. We're gonna have a strainer, so not too much water goes into the sauce. Like, you can add it on after. And just mix that pasta in. Whoa. You hear that? I'm just gonna add all the pasta in. I'm gonna leave soon, so they're gonna enjoy this while I'm gonna enjoy my fun. I'm just gonna roam about. But my job here, while my family is here, is to be the cook. So hopefully, I'm gonna be making a ton more videos, because I feel like this video just went well. And yeah, I love to talk into the camera. So, oh shit, what could go wrong? So this is pretty much how it looks like. Pasta with sauce. Like something to try, just to see, the finished product. Obviously, you'd want to add some cheese, some pepper, depending on your preference. But I can't be bothered right now, so I'm just gonna do a taste test. What is this? Pasta with meat sauce, tomato meat sauce. Taste test. sauce is not too soft. Still has some bite to it. Tomatoey, beefy. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching that, or even just listening to me rant about my life. And I hope to make some more videos about this and entertain. So enjoy your evening and see ya later.